Hello, and welcome back to Keys to an Aligned Life. My name is Elisa Tolley, and this is where we talk about real estate, mindset, and the decisions that help us create a life that actually fits. If you're following along, we've been building a roadmap together. In episode one, we talked about recognizing when your home no longer fits your life. Then we talked about one of the biggest questions buyers have. Should I buy now or should I wait? And learning to listen to what you truly want and not all the noise outside. And then we talked about when you know you are ready to buy, how much home can I afford? And knowing where to have that value for you so that you still are living a life you enjoy. And last episode, we talked about the home buying process from the beginning to the very end. So today we're going to talk about what naturally comes next. Do you really need a realtor? And when I say realtor, I mean, do you really need your own when purchasing a property? And let's be honest, you can find most everything online. You can search homes, you can research neighborhoods, you can look at pricing, you can calculate payments, you can do any looking up online. So, what does a buyer agent actually bring to the table? And what should you expect from the person helping you through the biggest decision you'll ever make? So, first, I want to say something that actually might surprise you. Yes, you can find a lot of information online, and I actually encourage my clients to do that. I want you to be educated. I want you to understand the process, and I want you to ask questions because there's a difference between having information and knowing what to do with that information. You can find a four-bedroom house online, but is that the house for you and your family? You can see the price, but is that actually a good value for what they're offering you? You can see beautiful pictures, but what are the pictures not telling you that you need to be on the lookout for? This is where I think a realtor can add a lot of value, not simply by opening the door, but by helping you make sense of what you're seeing. So, one of the things I want you to understand with a buyer is we have to ask questions. We have to listen. We have to listen and start with the person and not the house. So I ask buyers, what are you trying to accomplish? Is this your first buying process? What's the reason for buying? Are you growing your home? Are like growing your family, I should say? Are you downsizing? Are you moving and relocating? Do you want to invest? And is this going to be a purchase for the next 5 years? Or is this like the forever home we plan to be here 20 plus years? This is where I feel like my educator side naturally ties into real estate. Because when I was teaching, I wasn't just giving someone information, I wanted them to understand where they were starting, where they wanted to go, and what did we need to get from A to B. And I approach real estate in a very similar way. Because if we don't know what we're actually trying to accomplish, it's really easy to get distracted by a house because houses are very good at distracting us. I know that from personal experience. You can walk into a gorgeous kitchen, you see the pool, you see the primary bedroom, and suddenly you're thinking, hey, we could maybe stretch a little bit. It's where I want the person who can say, wait, let's go back to what you told me you wanted. So I'll give you a great example. I had a buyer and they were really, really set on a certain location. Like they wanted to be in a certain part of town, but they found a house that was completely redone, absolutely gorgeous, better price, in a location that was somewhere different. And when they asked me to see this house, I was very open to it because I think sometimes we do need to see other things to be able to make the best decision for ourselves. But after looking at that house, I wanted to remind them what they had told me in the beginning. They wanted X neighborhood because of school district and because of different areas of walkability in the community. And this house did not have that. And when that happened, we had to go back to the drawing board and they had to ask themselves questions because when I first speak to buyers, they might want one thing. And then that thing might change based on what they see, but it's my job to remind them of what they told me so that I can make sure they are aware before they make their decision. So let's talk about what a buyer agent actually does. It's much more than showing houses. We're helping you define your search. We're researching properties. I know when I take buyers out and we have a list of 3 to 5 properties to go see, I have done work before that. I might look at seller properties disclosures, look at ages of ACs and roofs, like big ticket item things, because I want them to know, yeah, this house is beautiful, but I want you to see this part, or I want you to consider this. And when we offer a price, or if you want it, we're looking at comparable sales. We're looking at market conditions. We're helping you identify potential concerns, right? Like, I might see something in the house that needs to be fixed, and I know that's going to come up in a couple years. Are you ready for that? And then when you find the right house and we know it's the right one, we help you navigate the offer. And this is where things can get emotional, because now you're not looking just at a house. You're putting your name on a contract. You're making decisions about prices and terms. And maybe there are multiple offers. Maybe you're afraid you're going to lose the house. Maybe you're wondering, are we offering too much? And this is where I think a good realtor should help you separate 3 things. What do we know? What do we think? And what are we feeling? And those are 3 very different things. I don't think my job is to simply to tell you to offer more. My job is to help you understand the options you have so you can make an informed decision for yourself. It is not my job to make decisions for you. My job is to allow you to make the right decision for yourself based on the options I give you. So, and here's the other part. Negotiation isn't just always about the price. It can involve closing dates, inspection terms, repairs, credits, financings, contingencies, and so many pieces of the transaction. And there are people, like, let's say you're waiting on your house to close to pay for this house that you love. We might be offering more because there's a contingency on selling your home, because that is an inconvenience to the seller. So there's a way to make a good offer based on the conditions of the offer. And every offer is different because every buyer's needs are different. I'll give you a great example. I had a client who was out of town and had me virtually show them properties, and they wanted to be here during the inspection period. So I did ask for a longer than normal inspection to give her time to come down and see the property. And that's something specific to her that we needed for her. And maybe with someone else, it might have been a shorter inspection depending on what needed to be done. So that's why having someone who understands the process can really help you save time and money and ask you the right questions to help you to get to your decision faster. And then there's something that every single buyer needs to understand. And that's real estate doesn't always go perfectly. An inspection might uncover something completely unexpected. We might need a roof professional or an HVAC specialist or a plumber or an electrician or a pool inspection, or sometimes even, re-looking at mold or termite. There can be additional questions that come up depending on the property. And your realtor isn't the person replacing these professionals. But what your realtor should help you understand is what happens next. Who do we need to talk to find out the information? What information do we need to know? And once we know that information, what's the option that we can take next? And sometimes the inspection reveals something that can't be negotiated. And sometimes it's something that you can live with. And sometimes it tells you this just isn't the right house for us. And that's okay, because the goal is not close the deal at all costs. The goal should be make the right decision for you. And if your realtor is making you feel like they want you to close the deal at all costs, and it is not comfortable for you, then you are with the wrong realtor. I'm going to tell you a short story. I had a friend and they had gone through this buying house process before I was even a realtor. But it's a close friend of mine. I just met her recently and we were talking about real estate and all the things. And one of the things she talked about was how uncomfortable she was with her last transaction. She had a home that they were looking at that was super cute. It checked the boxes, but she had a feeling about it. And she was open and honest with her realtor and said, "This is not feeling good. My gut is screaming, no, like this is not the house." And the realtor made her feel bad about that and said, "Well, this checks all your boxes. Why do you not feel good about it?" And it was an awful experience because she's like, "I felt like I wasn't heard. Like I was communicating, but they were making me feel bad for how I felt." And so I want you to know, if you are in that situation where you feel as if your realtor is pushing you in a direction you don't want to go, you can sever the tie. And I say that because there are fantastic realtors out there, but there's also ones that may not be looking out for your best interest. And if that's the case and you feel that way, you should be able to leave. Usually that means canceling a buyer broker agreement. So, ask about that if you do want to step away. But I really want you to know the goal is not just closing a deal to close the deal. The goal is, did my client make the right decision for them and are they happy with that decision? There's a big emotional side of buying. And honestly, this is probably one of the biggest reasons I believe that guidance matters. Buying a home is very emotional, especially on the residential side. You might be leaving the home where your children grew up. You might be starting over. Maybe you're buying your first home. Maybe you're buying to be closer to family. Maybe after 20, 30 years, you're finally downsizing. But there's a lot wrapped up in that decision. Sometimes the question isn't just, can you buy this house? Is the right decision for the life that I'm trying to create? And that's where I feel like the life coaching side naturally comes into work, right? Because I don't want to simply help you buy a house. I want to help you make a decision that feels good, even when the excitement wears off, right? We get so hyped up, we're excited, we looked at houses, this is going to be ours, but that wears off. And I want you to still be excited, or still be happy, I should say, with your decision after that excitement wears off. So I talked to you about what you should feel around a realtor, but how do you choose the right realtor for you? Because I also want to preface, just because your best friend used Sally doesn't mean Sally might be right for you. So if you're looking for a realtor, here's what I would encourage you to ask. Don't just ask, how many homes have you sold? Ask, how do you communicate? How will you help me evaluate a home? What are you going to do for me to make sure I know I'm getting the best price? What's going to happen when something goes wrong? And how do you approach negotiations? And one of my personal favorites, are you going to tell me what I should do? Or are you going to help me understand my options so I can make the right decision for me? Because I think there's a big difference. For me, I don't want to be the person who simply hands you the list of houses. I want to help you go from, we're thinking about buying, to, we know what we're looking for and we found it. And we understand the decision we're making. And ultimately, we feel confident about the decision we made. Okay, so I want to share something personal here. One of the things I've learned throughout my own life and my career is I don't have to have everything figured out. And honestly, I don't think I'm supposed to. I learned through experience. I learned by doing. I learn from what works and what doesn't. And then I take what I learned and I use it to help the next person. And that's the biggest part of why I created Keys to Align Life. I'm not pretending I have every answer for you. I'm here to share what I've learned, what I've experienced, and what I still continue to learn. Because honestly, at the end of the day, we're just all doing the best we can and learning the best we can. And I hope this helps you feel a little more confident navigating your own season of change, whether that's staying where you are, but maybe fixing it up, or moving to a different environment. So, do you really need a realtor? Technically, you can buy a home without one. But I think the better question is, do you want someone in your corner while you're making one of the biggest financial and life decisions you're likely to make. Someone who can help you understand the market, help you stay focused on what you actually want, help you navigate an offer, a nice, strong one, have you understand the unexpected, and remind you of the bigger picture when emotions get high and things get frustrating. Because I don't believe, again, my job is to simply help someone buy a house. I want to help people make clear, confident real estate decisions that support the life they're trying to build. And sometimes that means helping you buy. And sometimes it means telling you to wait. And sometimes it's saying, I don't think this is the right house. And sometimes it's celebrating at the closing table. That's the part of this work that I love. And always, I leave you with this. Your life doesn't have to fit in your house. Your house should fit the life you're building. You don't have to have everything figured out today. Sometimes you just need to understand your next step. And that's why I hope that this episode gives you a little more clarity, a little more confidence, and maybe the courage to take that next aligned move. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.